week, we've got anti-immigration riots in England, the government of Bangladesh being overthrown, the risk of all-out war in the Middle East, stock markets around the world crashing, and MrBeast, the world's largest YouTuber, is now closer to being cancelled than he's ever been before. Yes, all of that has happened since my last video got taken down, which don't even get me started on. So considering how cooked all of these subjects are, if you are someone who suffers with anxiety of the current state of the world, maybe just give this one a miss. But I'm not gonna lie, this week's news is not good. But I promise I'll make it up to you with the last story at the end. With that being said, we better get bloody cracking. Okay, let's jump into the MrBeast situation first, because he posted for the first time since the whole Ava Kris Tyson situation, and honestly, I did not expect the reaction to be this big. People have been showing that he's been mass deleting comments in real time mentioning anything to do with the Kris situation, but in efforts to stop that from dominating the comment section, it's only made it so much worse because now MrBeast deleting comments has blown up across all social media platforms. People have started using Chrome extensions to see what the like to dislike ratio on that post was, and when I posted this whole topic on TikTok, it was at 3 million likes and 2 million dislikes. But here's where it gets a little bit strange. Today, it's on 1.8 million dislikes, so somehow the dislikes are being removed, but not the likes. Don't know how, a little bit sus. No speculation or claims being made there. Oh, and even Ryan Trahan, the internet's most nice, polite, beloved guy, well, he's now also being dragged into this situation. Because the top comments on his video about this was, "Not a good time, Ryan," and "Yeah, the timing of this video ain't it, chief." And the dislike ratio on that video has now become one of the highest on his entire channel, despite it only being posted 24 hours ago. So by the time you watch this, it might be the highest. Who knows? And I mean, honestly, I never thought I'd say the words, but are we somehow actually seeing the cancellation of MrBeast? And if you were wondering why the hell is everyone getting so worked up about, this whole Kris situation, because it was Kris, it wasn't MrBeast. What did MrBeast do? Well, yeah, you're in the same boat as a lot of other people, because when I posted this video on TikTok, I was kind of surprised because I had no idea how many people thought the only reason MrBeast is getting so much backlash right now is because of Ava Kris Tyson. It's not. You see, right at the exact same time the whole Kris situation was kicking off, an alleged former employee of MrBeast made a nearly hour-long video, essentially, in detail, calling him a fraud. This video blew up, and because of that, he's now claiming that he's been sent multiple cease and desist letters from the MrBeast team, which, it's not always a good look, I'll be honest.
That's suspicious. That's weird.
But everyone in the comments of my TikTok was only focused on the Ava Kris Tyson situation. So the only thing that I could think of is then maybe the fact that these blew up at such similar times that everyone just thought, oh, it's just more people jumping on the bandwagon trying to cancel MrBeast, or it's just about the Kris situation, which they've heard enough about. But according to this MrBeast employee, at least allegedly, he was working on this video for months before the Kris situation kicked off. So, please go watch the full 53-minute video if you want. But if you don't have almost an hour to, find out why the world is angry at MrBeast right now, here's just a little rapid fire of some of the wild allegations he made. So firstly, we don't know his name. He's just referred to himself as Dogpack. He alleges that despite Jimmy always saying that he never fakes videos, he does. A lot. For starters, he claimed that MrBeast doesn't actually use random subscribers in his videos. Rather, all of the contestants are either friends, staff, or paid actors that can create scripted, suspenseful moments. So with that, you can be like, yeah, okay, we know that, television does this all the time with their reality shows. So how's that any different? This guy points out that with a lot of his stuff, he does like a giveaway or, subscribe and you could stand a chance to be in one of my videos, which he claims makes it almost transactional, creating a false illusion that some random subscribers could ever be in a video of his, which they apparently can't. He also claimed that MrBeast fakes challenges, like when they were supposed to spend 7 days stranded at sea, but instead of sleeping in this, little shelter, he freezes on a time-lapse that shows no one in there, alleging that because of this, they were actually sleeping in the production yacht, and he doesn't do all of his challenges like that. I don't know, interesting. He said that timers are often edited in post. He said that the results of some challenges like the boys versus girls one was rigged by the production team to make both sides seem closer than they actually were, all to avoid a PR nightmare. Which, if true, he says would be against the US broadcast standards and practices, which stipulates that whenever there is a game show that has a prize, you have to have someone act as a third-party oversight to ensure everything is fair. Which, I don't know, from what I can see, this only seems to apply to broadcasters like TV stations. So, you know, MrBeast is on YouTube. I don't know if this still applies. I guess the ethics of it all still count, but in terms of standards and practices, maybe not a legal issue. He also claimed that Mac, a pretty famous character from a number of videos now, supposedly moved to a $1 million mansion in North Carolina, which there's not a lot going on in North Carolina, to work for MrBeast 2 months before he appeared as a contestant. He claimed that a portion of his giveaways are not just fake, but illegal. He said Jimmy has run giveaways where people have never received the prizes. For instance, his live t-shirt giveaway signing event. He claimed that there were 46 cases of illegal lotteries in there, with some winners only receiving t-shirts that they bought because they were supposed to buy a t-shirt and have the chance to win something else. And then allegedly others were receiving t-shirts with fake MrBeast signatures, even though they paid with the promise of it being real. So he shows a clip of one of his teammates signing the MB signature. Guess you can call them that. I know they're not teammates. It's just the word that came to my mind, okay?
Foreign casserole.
He also says another example of these illegal lotteries was a failed moon photo project where participants paid $10 to have their pictures sent to the moon, but the rocket exploded on the way there and he never refunded all the money. He implies that this may have been the plan the whole time, but again, we have no idea. There's a bunch more of this stuff, considering it's 53 minutes. It includes feastables and stuff like that, but you get the point. This video is now on 10 million views, and it's his only video on the channel, so you've got to think about how crazy that would have had to be to blow up to 10 mil. Following this, a lot of Jimmy's fans were hoping that he would address all of these claims. But instead, he posted that unrelated video to all of this, and then he started deleting comments on top of that to do with Ava Kris Tyson and these claims. So people were pretty pissed. Now, with saying all of that and putting these claims before you, just remember, these are all claims. And I think when I hear all of these claims, given the undeniable good that Jimmy has done with his fame and his money, I think at the very least, he should be given the benefit of the doubt. And at least for us to wait before, you know, for him to just respond to this before we're like, MrBeast is cooked, he's cancelled, let's, you know, do all of that. Maybe we just wait to see what he has to say. Anyway, the question I have for you guys is, firstly, do you care about any of these claims? And secondly, do you think this will be the end of MrBeast, or will it only make him bigger? Right. Let's move on. Oh, okay. For all of us invested in crypto, in stocks, or pretty much anything else at this point, I just want to say it is okay to cry. You know, I know many of us have probably done that today, including myself. You know, opening those trading apps today and just seeing a bloodbath of red can really put a damper on life, you know, just in general. It's enough to give you deep trauma. And you know, we are a family here, so we share each other's pain. So, moment of silence. Okay, that's it. Grow up. Let's move into the story. Honestly, if that joke seemed a bit harsh, Alex cut it out, because when I said that joke, I kind of felt the words came out my mouth and I felt offended myself because of the pain that I feel. So Alex, you can cut it out if that feels like it's the case. Anyway, the stock markets have been crashing around the world today to levels that in many places we haven't seen before. And all of this is happening as fears of a US recession are increasing to, what levels can we, what word can we use to describe this? Scary levels. Let me just give you an example, hey? Japan launched its worst two-day decline in their history, with the Nikkei index dropping a staggering 18.2% since Friday. What the flip? Taiwan's market had the worst single day on record as well. The NEWSDADDY in the UK dropped 1,000 points, which we've also never seen before in a single day. The crypto market got absolutely wiped. 300 billion from its total market cap in 3 days. Bitcoin dropped by 30% from its all-time high. Ethereum lost 20% of its value in 2 hours. Trading platform Robinhood disabled 24-hour trading amid extreme volatility. In the United States, the magnificent 7 stocks that really just like push the US markets. Well, nearly 500 billion was erased from them overnight, and the US market in general lost about 7 trillion in the past week. The world's most famous trader, Warren Buffett, sold almost half of his investments in Apple and 8.8% in Bank of America, which now gives him a record cash position of $277 billion. And I mean, to be fair, his most famous quote is something like, "Buy when there's blood in the streets, even if it's your own." So the fact that he's got a large cash position is not that surprising. But with all of this blood in the streets, one stock that has been doing pretty fantastic in the past 30 days is Lockheed Martin, interestingly, which is one of the largest aerospace and defense manufacturers in the world. Sign of the times, eh? Fuck.
Corn casserole.
I can hear the words in my head of that meme, like, sometimes, you know, you just want to push through and it's okay to cry, or I don't know, whatever the words are, but I can feel it in my bones.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
So, why the
Corn casserole.
is this all happening? And keep in mind, before I tell you the immense complexity of global markets, so no short explanation that I'm about to give you is going to do it justice, but to put it very simply, the world's cooked. Okay. No, that's not the reason. That's a joke. No, what we do know is that the US had a weak jobs report. That then triggered one of the most well-known and historically accurate indicators of a recession, known as the SAM rule. And I'm not going to explain it in detail here. That then caused panic on Wall Street, and short-term investors like hedge funds sold off in droves over the last couple of days. This fear then seemingly spread around the world because, you know, if the world's largest market, the US, goes into a recession, then boy, you know that affects everyone. Just think about the 2008 crisis. Started in the US, and the rest of us will never forget about that one. How old was I in 2008? 7, 8, something like that. Oh, and also the Fed didn't cut rates, which is what investors wanted. There's also something about, you know, the Japanese yen increasing against the dollar, and that caused problems. Just, it's complex, as you can hear. So, yeah, pretty much deal with it. That's the advice at the minute. Deal with it, because what are we going to do? You know? Cry? Probably.
They ask you how you are, you just have to say that you're fine when you're not really fine, but you just can't get into it because they would never understand.
Okay, let's move on because there's a lot more bad news to get through. For anyone asking why I smile, it's one of those situations where it's just like, we're so cooked that you either laugh or you cry. I'm choosing a bit of both, I feel. All right, the next one is the situation in the Middle East. Boy, is that rapidly escalating. Not in a good way. Do things escalate in a bad way? Not even sure. What is a situation that escalates and is good? Beats me. So here's just a couple of the rapid fire things. The Pentagon deployed additional fighter jets and warships to the region to defend Israel in case of an attack, which seemingly is increasing likely, at least the fears around it is. France urged its citizens to leave Iran immediately. Cyprus said that it was expanding plans to support a large-scale evacuation to help people leave the Middle East in case the war expands. Poland advised its citizens to not travel to Lebanon, Israel, Iran. Multiple airlines suspended or postponed flights to the region, including United Airlines, Delta, Turkish Airlines, Wizz Air, and a few more. Senator Lindsey Graham, this one's kind of wild. He introduced a joint resolution to authorize the use of U.S. armed forces against Iran for threatening the national security of the United States through the development of nuclear weapons. Wow. Caveat to that is just keep in mind, this is only just being introduced. It still has a long way before that becomes law and shit really kicks off. The leader of Hezbollah has said that this conflict with Israel has entered a new phase after the back-to-back assassination of their senior commander and Hamas's leader. And on that note, even Biden said that the assassination was not helpful for the ceasefire in Israel's war in Gaza. So, yeah, slightly worrying times around that situation ahead of us. But, you know, to be fair, this has been quite a few days and we still haven't had a direct attack. So fingers crossed for the rest of the world that this doesn't happen. But until anything does happen, I'll keep you updated. Okay, the bad news doesn't stop because we got to talk about 3 pretty major protests and riots happening around the world. We've got Nigeria, we've got massive riots in the UK, and the overthrowing of the entire government in Bangladesh. Okay, Which one should we start first? I mean, you guys even recovered from the last couple of stories yet? Don't know if I have. Okay, so let's just cover all of these really quickly so we don't just give up on life during. Let's get it out the way. Band-Aid. Woo! Starting in Bangladesh, protesters stormed the Prime Minister's official residence and started even filming themselves in there, looting it and even eating food from her kitchen. Wild. She has now not only resigned, which I'll get to why that is such a massive deal, but she has also fled the country to India. And this is because the protests, which I don't know if I included in YouTube, I covered it on TikTok a few weeks ago, well, they just kept on getting worse. They became even more deadly, and they refused to relent. But here's the thing, you guys just need to understand how huge this is, because this Prime Minister has been in power in Bangladesh for over 15 years. That's like almost 4 terms for a president. Imagine a president served almost 4 terms. And not only that, but just like a month ago, if someone said that, these young protesters, which are predominantly, students demanding her resignation, would have actually succeeded, it was almost unthinkable. But today, that actually happened. What started as a political movement turned into a literal mass uprising. And it's even reported that the military was one of the major ones that put pressure on her to step down. So if the military gets involved in these situations, shit is real serious. In an address to the nation today, the Army Chief General announced that an interim government will now run Bangladesh, and he called for calm and an end to the protests. Absolutely wild. Let's go on to the next one. Moving on to Nigeria, because Africa's most populated country is on fire right now. Huge nationwide protests have broken out, and they're being referred to as hunger or hardship protests. This is because recently a brutal combination of unprecedented fuel prices, high food inflation, rising electricity costs, and a collapse in the value of their money, the Naira. Just imagine all of those things at once. Boy, that all happened, and now it's caused one of the worst cost of living crises for decades. And you see, this is the wild part, because Nigeria has a really stark contrast. They are home to some of the poorest people in the world, but then they are also one of the entire continent's top oil producers, and they pay their government officials some of the highest wages in all of Africa. Last year, for example, they approved millions of dollars on a presidential yacht and SUVs for lawmakers. Some of the protesters believe that this contrast exists because of poor government decisions and corruption. All of this anger and frustration has unfortunately resulted in violent clashes between police and protesters, and has so far ended the lives of 9 people, and nearly 700 have been arrested. The military is even now threatening to intervene if the unrest continues to grow. But talking about extreme unrest, let's talk about the UK. These anti-immigration riots happening in England right now are literally triggering emergency government meetings because of, one, how rapidly they're spreading, but also because of how serious they are also becoming. You see, what started in one small city in response to a horrifically tragic event has now spread to multiple large cities across the country, including Liverpool, Hull, Bristol, Manchester, Stoke-on-Trent, Blackpool, Belfast, and there's probably more by the time I'm recording this. Not all of these protests have turned violent, but the ones that have were bad. They've stormed a number of hotels that were housing migrants. There's been huge clashes with police. Objects have been thrown. Shops were looted. Police have been getting injured. An Islamic stand handing out Qurans in Liverpool was torn down. Vehicles have been set on fire. But here is the really worrying part. These riots were only triggered by one event. Deep down, they are actually a product of a political topic, immigration, that has been intensifying and boiling for a while now. And not just in England, in countries around the world. And because of that, you have people in other countries seeing this horrific violence and not only supporting it, but saying that their country should be next. That's wild. And also, because of the nature of what they're protesting, we're also seeing the other half turn out. We're seeing pro-immigration counter-protests igniting, which has resulted in violent clashes between these two sides that are polarized on this one topic. I mean, I've been on TikTok live watching some of these things, and honestly, you are seeing gangs of men with weapons that I don't even want to describe, looking for other people on the other side of those riots, both contributing to this situation, which is absolute chaos right now. And I'm not even I'm understating it because I'm probably not going to be able to show you the amount of visuals that I've seen because this video would just get taken down immediately. Either way you look at it, you are now seeing a super polarizing political topic that was initially fueled by rapidly spread false information and extreme opinions online, all now spill into the real world and have a real life consequences. So my question to you guys is, how do we solve this? And do things get better or worse from here? Woo! Okay, right. I need to talk about some good news to really round this video out because we are not leaving it on that. Otherwise, boy, Alex will probably, I can't even imagine him editing this video right now. Okay. How about this one? I just found out today that the Olympic teams have therapy dogs for their mental health. So I am proud and happy to introduce to you Beacon, the United States mental savior. I need a goddamn Beacon right now. Beacon, be with me. Fully accredited, Beacon has traveled all the way to France with the gymnastics team to keep the athletes calm and give them company during the training and competitions. His owner told USA Today that Beacon senses people's stress and knows just how to soothe them. And I mean, this ain't just some fluffy hubbub. This is rock solid science. And Alex, as I say this, just keep putting photos of our beloved Beacon. According to a study conducted by researchers at the University of Washington, petting animals for 10 minutes can help reduce levels of cortisol, the body's stress hormone, as well as focus on the present moment. Wow. Beacon, we all need you right now. We love you, Beacon. And, yeah. Boy, oh boy. All right, I think that's where I'm going to leave it today. I hope this wasn't too crazy. I love you guys, and yeah, it's pretty cooked right now, but it's important to know. And my famous saying, actually, and you can quote me on this, it is never as bad or as good as it seems. And I can tell you that from looking at this all the time. So keep that in mind. We will make it through another week. I almost guarantee you it. And I love you, and I will see you on Thursday. Woo!